So yesterday we learned about two, we did two lessons, right? So we'll do some more advanced today. We'll take lesson 1.yaml. Yesterday we did the web server installation. Everyone can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, Anchor.
Okay. So I'm just going to write a new task that to install NTP server and configure NTP server. Okay. So till here we installed web server and configured and copied the index file and started the service. Okay. So now let's. So if you want to add some comments to your whenever you use editor, it's better to use Vim so that it will be easy for you to identify the syntax errors, syntaxes. Okay, here.
చెప్పవా?
So if anyone has questions, just ping me. So I muted everyone. So if you have any issue, just ping me. Then I will unmute it. Install NTP server. Use the U module. Then name equals to NTP. State equals to present. And enable equals to yes. Okay. And let's run this one. Ansible playbook inventory file, and then Ansible playbook lesson 1 playbook YAML. Now see it in the third one. Okay. Yep. Hyphen. There is no NTP server, NTP package installed here. Let's wait for. Okay. There is a syntax error. It shows enabled. Go to the lesson 1. Because this is not a daemon. NTP is not a daemon. So whenever you get errors in this way, and if you want to ignore those errors, ignore those errors, you can ignore them by so this is the enabled equals to yes will give you the error message. Then you can use the ignore underscore errors equals to yes. So this will give you whenever there is an error in that particular task, it ignores. Suppose you are doing some troubleshooting and you know that the particular so when you run an Ansible, whenever there is an error, so it will fails at the error and it will exit from the execution. So you know that there is some issue with that particular task and you want to ignore it and run the rest of the task, then you have to use this the statement as ignore underscore errors is equal to yes. Okay, let's run the same thing now. I'm just checking the syntax. Line 26 column 1. Okay, so that is a spelling mistake. One space is extra here. So these small ish. Okay, I'm sorry. So whenever we are using dictionaries, then we should use colon and yes. So that was the error. Now you see here. So in the last one it said it has got failed and the program that playbook got exit from the execution. Okay. Now if you see here, now the same error message, but it ignored and started running and you got the results. Here if you see this one, it is one is failed one. But in this statement I'm saying if there is any fail task in the playbook, please ignore it. So now correct the issue now. Run the same playbook again. If you see in the previous one, there was an error. So I used the ignore underscore errors statement, then it ignored here. But now I corrected the error. I corrected the syntax. Now you see it's running. So whenever there are errors and you want to ignore them, then you can use the statement ignore underscore errors in down of the any task. Now see, let's see in the whole here now. Now NTP is configured. So when the NTP is configured, installed, you need to configure the NTP server on the remote machine. Okay. So here now this is the configuration file and it gives the server name. If you see here, these are the server names. But I don't want to use the servers. I want to use some my own NTP server. Okay. So I have my NTP server. So I have my NTP server, one of the file here, ntp.conf. You see here, you go and I, this is my configuration template file in my machine, and I give as a time.google.com. So I gave my NTP server here instead of giving all the other ones. So here I commented them and I'm giving my own server. Okay, and now you need to copy this file into the remote machine. So now you can use lesson on .yaml and start a new task saying that configure NTP server. Okay, and go here. And what is the command to copy the configuration file? So that is copy module source equals to ntp.conf.j2. This file is there in my current directory and destination is etc.ntp.conf. Okay. Now run the same playbook again. Okay. One got changed. Now go and check the same file again. So earlier it was showing you server 01, and if you go back here, you see the configuration file has got copied here. So this is one way of configuring. So you can, and there is one more way to copy to change the configuration. Suppose right now I'm just removing the NTP application here. Okay, I'm going to use the template module here. .yaml. Okay, and till now, anyone has questions?
No, Shankar.
So did you configure your lab missions yesterday?
Yeah.
Anyone has any questions?
Shankar, I have a question.
Yeah.
So in my client machine, I added an inventory, and in which I just updated one host machine and also the client machine in it, and I just written a simple YAML code,
Mm-hmm.
and then when I execute it using ansible hyphen playbook hyphen I inventory simple .yaml,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting a warning host file not found inventory provided host list is empty.
Because when you give -I,
Mm-hmm.
then that particular inventory file should be there in the same folder.
Okay,
So
okay,
if you see my here,
okay.
now if you run this command, then that
Mm-hmm.
means that inventory file is in the
In
current
class.
direct. Okay.
Okay,
If you
I
run
got
the
it.
same command from other folder, you will not
Mm-hmm.
see
Okay,
you will not see that.
okay, thank you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Shankar,
Mm-hmm.
when I'm like when you're copying the file
Mm-hmm.
from client to the server,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting an error like warning missing target hosts, and it's not I'm not able to copy the file from client to server.
Okay. After the class,
Okay,
share me your desktop, then I can help you.
okay, Shankar.
Okay. So there is one more way of uh, copying the configuration files. Now, now I have a configuration file in my current location, that is ntp dot config dot j2. J2 is nothing but ginger templates. Okay. Uh, Here I just want to give server and the at the last server and the server name. So this is static in the sense I hard coded this uh, server here, and then I copied the file to the remote machines, right? So whenever you are working on different environments like development, production, or staging, so the time servers may be differ from development to testing. So at that time you have to give your custom server. I mean to say different time servers for each one. In that way, so you can use the variable format, like, and then like you can use the variable here. So I made NTP server as my variable, okay, and then I define my variable. I define my variable in the playbook. So before task, see here, before task, go here and use vars, okay. Give the NTP server is my variable and give the value here. What is that value? Time dot google dot com is my NTP server. Now copy module will only copy as it is from your current folder to the your destination missions given folder location. Okay. Now you can use the template module. Okay. To know more about template, use Ansible doc, Ansible doc, and template. Template is a module. Okay. So whenever you use a template, so it will copy the template file to the remote location, changing the variables. So whatever the variables you define in the vars, so those variables will be replaced in the file and copied to the remote location. So source and destination are normal. So see the example here. See source and destination. It's same like it's same like copy command, but it will replace the variables. Cop, Copy is only to copy as it is, but template will change the variables in the configuration file. Okay, template colon sr source is, what is that file? ntp.conf.j2, and destination is etc.ntp.conf. Okay, let's see, let's change this. Instead of google.com, I just give thinker.com. Okay, so I define the variables in, so vars is the dictionary where you defined as a vars, and then give two spaces and give your variable name and the variable value, and just run the playbook again. Now you have, now every time I run this playbook, so all the tasks are executing, right? So now from the next we will use tags, and we will only run the ntp task. Sorry. Okay. Host 3 it got two changes, right? Go and see the file etc ntp.conf. Go to the end of the file, you see time.thinker.com. This is configured. Now we'll make some changes here. So we'll tag this one as ntp. So instead of running all these tasks, now I will only run this particular ntp part. Okay, this is also ntp. Wherever I say ntp, so those will get run. Now ntp -t ntp. So instead of running all this task, it is only running two tasks because I mentioned only two tasks, right? Install ntp and configure ntp. Now let's change the values of ntp here. Okay, go here and change it as google.com. Okay, run the ntp again. Now you should see ntp in this configuration file. You should see ntp.conf time.google.com. Okay, now what is that? See time.google.com. So once the application is installed and configured, what is the next step? You have to start the service. So for that you have to write one more task. Okay, and start the NTP service. Here I give the service module. Okay, and name equals to NTP and date is equal to started and enabled equals to yes. Now I want to make this as a tag this task as related to NTP. Okay, now run the NTP. Okay, let's check on the remote machine. Systemctl status NTP. Okay, you see NTP service is running and its PID is 3400. If you want to check total details, NTP queue FNP. Now it's connected to time2.google.co because it is the alias for time.com. So in Google, time.com will have multiple time servers for redundancy. So it took one of the redundancy server here. So it will get synced with the time.google.com. So this is the one way of giving the servers, configuring the NTP server. Now you don't want to hard code. You don't want to hard code NTP server here. Instead of that, you want to, whenever you run the Ansible playbook, so it should prompt you for the details. So I'm making a comment so that this will be ignored. Now, now the other variables you can find. Go to the Google and use the wheres. Okay, and you can get all the details about the playbook variables here. So I'm using now I'm going to use variables underscore prompt. Okay, and if you want to know more about variables underscore prompt, sorry, where's underscore prompt. So to know about about this function, you can go to the Ansible docs. From there you can find these things like, okay. So now write the variable where's underscore prompt. Okay, and from there you see the syntax here, the same syntax I'm going to follow right now. After two spaces, then give name. What is that? NTP server. What is the variable we used in the file? That is NTP server. Now prompt equals to okay. Run the file. There is some syntax here. Lot of the times it may be only the with the spaces. Okay. There are two spaces here. Now run the file again. I'm sorry. It's only syntax one hyphen space. Here I did not give the after hyphen. I did not give the space. That's the reason it was throwing some error. Man. So you have to make sure that whenever you have an error, first check the spaces after your colon or before the dictionary. Now it is asking NTP. What is your development NTP server? It will prompt for the user to give the input about your NTP server. Now let's say that time dot Vigna. I'm typing, but you are not able to see this. Okay. Now why I'm not able to see that one? Let's correct it. So if you're entering a password, so this is the way whenever you give the I gave time.vigna.com. I think let's see ntp.conf. Go to the end of the file. See here. So whatever I gave there, it's printed here. Now, so now go here, and whenever I'm typing, you are not able to see. Now I want to make it as a visible by default. Private, no. I'm saying this is not private. You can show the text which I'm typing on it. Yeah. Now here time.vigna.com. So earlier it was not showing because so whenever you enter a password, so no one has to see the passwords. So for that reason, by default, private is equals to yes. So it will hide the text from seen by others, but whenever I enter, it takes as the input. But I said I don't want to be hide the text. Private is no. Now I enter the text, enter, and it will run the NTP tasks. So it is setting up, and it will see the install.ntp installing the NTP, configuring the NTP, and starting the NTP. Okay. Now use the same command. It will throw some error till it's showing NTP. Now see the configuration file. Now see here time.vigna.com. Because I said as a restart, so it can have multiple servers, NTP servers. So it was already using the earlier version of NTP server. See here, you see the multiple servers here. In the same way, time.vigna and time.google.com was already running. So it ignored this one because this doesn't exist in the internet. So this is one way of giving the variables. Any questions till now?
No.
Did you understand how to configure an application, install the application, and how to use the templates and change the variables? And so now we wrote all these playbooks into a single YAML file. But in the first class we discussed saying that a single playbook will have multiple folders stating differently, like vars into a different folder, and tasks into different folder, um, and default values are into different folder. Let's see so in the first class we discussed saying that the templates has a separate folder. Now we gave template into a normal uh, in the same location, but everything has got their own folders, right? So now we will divide the playbook into different. Now you wrote a successful playbook, and you are going to convert them into a matured playbook by creating the separate folders for them and configuring the files. Okay, let's go here now. I open one more here. Go to the data classroom. Okay. Now create a main page. Let's say main.yml and here. So in the first file, in the starting of this file, we said that this is whenever you start a playbook, so it should start with this one, right? So now we are converting this playbook into a matured role. So for this starting, these three things should be copied to the new playbook. I'm just creating a new playbook here. Okay. And now this web server is now the other all the tasks are again a different roles. Let's first create this, folders for each one of it. Like I say, web server is my role. Okay, go to the web server and create these folders. What are the folders? Like what all we used? We used wheres, we used templates, we used task. So let's create first those folders. mkdir wheres, mkdir templates, mkdir tasks. Okay. And each folder so how the Ansible will recognize? So Ansible will only recognize the it will only recognize the main.yaml file in each of this folder. So it doesn't uh, recognize any other files like lesson 1 or lesson 2. It doesn't recognize those files. So it only recognizes main.yaml. Okay, go to tasks. Where are you right now? Let's I'm just showing you like what is the structure of this. This is your this is your role, and you have a task, template, and where. Okay. Now create in each folder you create a main.yaml file, main dot, and go to templates. Create a sorry, it's not mail, it's main.yaml. Touch templates, main.yml. Touch templates. So, where's main.yml. Now again check the folder structure now. See, each folder has contained one main.yaml file, right? Now let's convert the single playbook. We wrote all playbook in single file. Now we will convert into each folder. Okay. Now go to task, vim task main.yaml. Okay. Now any YAML file should start with 3 hyphens. Okay. and then so what are the tasks available in this? Go to copy all these tasks. Why? Mm, mm, some reason it is not copying the. Should make sure that alignment is proper for all the tasks. If not, it will not accept. It will throw some errors. Should make sure that are all the hyphens are in the straight line. Okay. I converted tasks. I copied the task. Again, what are there? What is the where is the template one? Which one did I use? Okay. Okay, template one is copied also. Where is the file? Now you need to copy that file into template folder. It was in my classroom folder. Okay. ntp.j2 and copy it to the data classroom web server template folder. Okay, I copied that file into templates. Then what else left here? So these are all went to the task folder, and this one is your main. It went into main file, and again where's it has to go into the where's folder. Go to the where's main. Again, you have to give 3 hyphens, then paste it here. Okay. Now you see here, I divided this particular playbook into 3 parts. So one is as a task. Wherever you see this task as your heading dictionary, those are all moved into task folder. In this task folder in the main file. Okay, and the The other things, the variables again moved into the vars folder, that too in the main.yaml file. And template template is nothing but my file, my configuration file. So whatever the configuration files you want to use them, so those should be copied into the template folder. So this is the templates folder, and uh, this is the configuration file. So mm, whenever you use a .j2 in your configuration file, it looks in the template folder. Okay. And you have to use the roles in the main file. So if you see here, this is the role, and so this is your playbook. If you invoke my main.yaml, it will call the roles here. Now configure this file to call the roles. Now roles, what is the roles name? Web server. So how it is selected? How did I select it as a web server? Because the folder name is the roles folder name. That particular roles folder name is web server. So whenever I call this web server, this main.yaml file, now it's calling as roles. So I'm segregating. Uh, I'm writing this playbook. I installed web server here, including NTP server. Then so if I write one more playbook in the same way, in the previous way we wrote one playbook, right? In the same way, you can also call one more role saying that DB server. So I'll create one more folder DB server and create task, variables, and all the configurations, and then add that roles colon DB server. Then it will call particular DB server folder. Right now I don't have them. Okay. Now Ansible playbook -I. Where is the inventory file? Inventory file. Now previous you were using lesson 1, lesson 2. Now you have to use main.yaml file. So now it is throwing an error. Where it is throwing an error? Line 2, column 3.